know if this is gonna surprise you, but I have the weirdest dreams known to man. So since I gotta deal with them every night, I've decided that you have to as well. Today I'm taking a few of the more memorable visuals for my dreams and turning them into quick concept art studies. And because this is a storytime speed paint, get ready for some just absolutely insane dream stories. Number 1, the first one. The first dream I ever remember having was actually more of a nightmare than anything. I was like maybe 3 or 4 at the time. I was laying in my little toddler bed with my favorite blue blanket draped over me. I was looking at myself while laying down when I noticed that I was suddenly starting to grow upward and merge with my blanket. Before I knew it, I was an impossibly tall blanket monster with beady red eyes. I even had to hunch over a bit in order to not hit my head on the ceiling. Interestingly enough, this nightmare also came with a companion dream where the same thing actually happened to Sue Ellen, the character from Arthur. So she was just like sitting in Ratburn's class, and then all of a sudden she turns into like this horrible beast thing, and all of her classmates are like, "Oh!" Perfect sound effects, just perfect. The memory of that dream was actually so visceral in my mind that I've thought for several years that this was an actual episode of Arthur. It all sounds kind of stupid now, but this was peak body horror as a 4-year-old. Number 2, the weird one. Except just kidding, they're all weird and fantastical. I can't have one normal dream, like failing a math test or something. No, I gotta keep the peanut butter cup bears from breaking into my house, or watch a mercenary fairy babysit a toddler that can turn into a white cat. Honestly though, I wouldn't have it any other way. Okay, back on track now. Don't you just hate it when you get into a gunfight in a hostage situation at midnight with an alien disguised as a Karen in a Walmart parking lot? No? Lucky you. For this one, I was walking through a Walmart parking lot with my family, and then all of a sudden this middle-aged lady pulls up on her cherry red minivan and starts shooting at us, so of course we have to shoot back. But this goes on for a while, until she gets out of her car at least. I tried to take her hostage and beat her up, but she ended up taking me hostage instead. She gives off this big old villain speech about how she's gonna take over the world or something. She called herself Dr. Strange, too, and she was about to prove that right, how strange she was, given that she took off her own face, like a mask of her face, and then underneath was a copy of her face, except it was just like a bunch of red spikes poking out of her skin. It looked weird even in Dreamland. And of course, while all of this is happening, my family is supposedly in the background looking for the police, but they're just driving circles around the parking lot. But finally they find them, so I drag this alien lady to the police car, which I put in quotes, because it's actually an ice cream truck repurposed into a coffee shop with like this little outdoor seating deck built into the back. That would be fun to draw. I already have too much to draw though. I remember questioning this even in the dream, but I let the cops stick her in the back of the truck anyway. And then I woke up wondering what the heck I had just witnessed. Number 3, the cool ones. A lot of the time, my dreams are pretty inconsistent. Floor plans constantly shift when I'm inside buildings, usually the sky looks more like a gray ceiling, as though my brain got too lazy to render it, and phones never ever work properly. But I get a lot of weirdly vivid dreams too, with fleshed out worlds and lore that I could explore for hours, if I didn't randomly wake up from them. Here's something fun about me. Some people have flying dreams. I have hopping dreams. Personally, I think it's a lot more fun than flying, because you get to leap over rooftops like a giant flea in Paris. Please tell me someone got that reference. This way, you get to experience a lot more of the epic highs and lows of hopping. That might have been the worst joke I've ever made. Okay, back on track. Again, there's a reason I call it Rangent Central, Random Tangent, and not On Track Central. Okay, here's the scoop. A guy named Bon listens to a secret radio broadcast on his phone. On the screen is one of those smiley faces that are supposed to be happy looking, but actually just kind of looks dubious and menacing. I think it's kind of fitting, because the guy talking on the radio seems to have his own agenda. After the radio segment is over, Bon hops off his little floating island, slides down the telephone pole line that connects to the ground, and calls one of his friends. He chats with her aimlessly, but then the friend quickly stops Bon, and she's like, "Bon, how did you call me?" Apparently no one in town has been able to call anyone or access the internet in 2 weeks, and then at this point, the dream switches to some shots of police out patrolling the streets. It seems to me that the police are the reason that no one's been able to call anyone. They've got a strict curfew placed on the town as well, and no one is allowed to leave. So now, it seems like the goal is for Bon and his friend to escape the town, perhaps with the help of the smiley face guy on the radio. The dream sadly ended right after this, but it got me thinking about the lore of the town. Why are the police controlling the town? And what's the deal with the smiley face guy? Is he really a rebel working against the police, or is he working for his own agenda? Who knows? Speaking of more cool dreams, I'm really excited about this one. Number 4, The one that was so cool I turned it into a comic. A dark square room sits silent in an empty facility. Antique televisions line one wall. Their static-filled screens struggle to beat back the darkness. A door opens, and a single security guard enters. They stand around for a moment. From the shadows, a few new figures slide into existence. They look like some kind of oni or demon, with their long, skinny, sharp limbs and unusually shaped heads. Instead of a face, they have a screen-like visor to replace it. The creature's limbs twist and bend in unnatural ways as they try to get a closer look at the guard. For a moment, it seems like the demons have sinister intentions, but, one by one, they start putting goofy little cartoon expressions on their screens. They just observe the security guard, examining them with curiosity. And the guard seems to be curious too. And then I took that idea and turned it into a horror comic. It's called Screen of Shadows, and it's available on Tapas and Webtoons. Sorry if this shameless plug caught you off guard, but I just had to add it. If nothing else, I hope this proves to you why you should keep a dream journal, so that you can remember the dreams that inspire you to make art. Speaking of comics, I've also got an ongoing webcomic called A Cure for Fate, also on Webtoons, so if you like fantasy and fairy tale stories, this might be your jam. I'll add links down below for those of you that are interested. Number 5, the meaningful one. Zzz. Occasionally I'll get dreams that feel extra important for some reason, or I get dreams with common themes that repeat a lot. Usually it's 3 times before I notice the pattern. I call them dreams with meaning. I know, very clever name. I'm truly a genius. I had a certain dream that would repeat after I had been getting a lot of pressure from people to start dating, even though, there was a reason I was not dating at the time. So I kept dreaming I was marrying a guy I barely knew. Different guy every time. In one of those dreams, I actually got called a DILF by my fiance. Fun times. Number 6, the scary one. I was playing a game on my Kindle Fire involving Mike Wazowski standing in a room. Very interesting premise. Mike's single eye suddenly goes really wide and darts to the side. A disembodied, partially rotted hand suddenly appears next to him. It didn't make any noise, but his presence was so dramatic that it felt loud in a way. The hand kept twitching towards him while I tried and failed to exit the game. Not to mention the longer I stayed in the game, the grubbier and more textured the environment became. Ugh. This one felt really scary at the time, but I think it's kind of goofy now. Number 7. The most terrifying one I've ever experienced. I stood in a Florida marsh at dusk. A man in blue overalls and a straw hat stood near me, intently watching his pet. The pet in question was an adult gator. It sat there, waiting. The only sounds piercing the silence were the muffled screams of the child held inside its jaws. Only the poor little kid's arm was poking out, swinging frantically from side to side. The man gave the gator a command. The gator bit down. The child ceased its movement, forevermore. Was that the bite of 87? No, Mark, it was the bite of 07. Get it together, man. I still get freaked out by this one. I still don't know if I had this dream because I'm terrified of gators, or if this dream put the fear of gator into me, but it still haunts me. Okay. Number 8, the stupid one. You're not ready for this one. I'm not ready for this one. Y'all are gonna make fun of me for this one. I walked into a big opera hall, but the only way through was by crawling through a tube. I got in by spot, and then the music starts, and a bunch of ladies in like these giant yellow teardrop suits enter the stage. And I just sat there and watched a bunch of people in pee droplet costumes doing the can-can and singing about how you do the pee-pee dance until you pee your pants. I was like 8, don't judge me. Oh crap, no, someone told me. Okay, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching and coming down memory lane with me. If you want to hear about any more of my weird dreams, let me know, because I have entire journals full of them. If you have any insane dreams, I'd love to hear them too. Hope you have a great day. Bye. Okay. Well, that was embarrassing. Personally, I think it's more fun than flying because you get to reap over rooftops. Right, Shrek, you get to reap over rooftops. Okay. Oh no, don't get me stuck to the chair. No. Ah! Oh crap. What? Dude! Oh. I thought I just put a hole in my shirt. That's fine.